Well, hey YouTube, it's Elvis Ammo here. Hey, today I'm going to do a 300 blackout subsonic loading video on some brass that I've already prepped in a previous video, just several videos back, not too hard to find. And so what I'm loading is 300 blackout subsonic with the 230 grain missiles. That's the mold that I'm using right there. That's kind of my go-to for the subsonic. What I'm doing today is I'm just replacing some ammo that I shot up over the weekend, and so I'm not loading 1,000 rounds or anything like that. I'm just replacing and replenishing. So what I've done is I've put all the powder that I needed in most of these, left 2 rows here so you can see how I'm doing it. I'm just doing these in small batches, and this powder gets locked sometimes and you just hit it. So this is how I'm putting the powder in, and I'm using 10.8 grains of IMR 4227, and this powder measure actually does a pretty good job. So now what I've done is I've got all the powder in here, and I'm going to put my flashlight in there and just confirm it by eye to make sure I didn't do anything stupid, that it all looks the same level, and it does. And now we're going, and what I've done is I also left some out because I wanted you to see how I finished prepping this brass from the last videos that you've seen of me prepping brass. So what I'll do is I'll just put a link in the description to the last prepping video of this brass. I'll just do that. So for right now, I'm just going to, and save time, I'm just going to move you right down here to where I'm loading, and we'll go from here. So what I have here is I just have all of my primed brass, and I primed it up to the point, I prepped this brass up to the point of just putting primers in and flaring the neck so that whenever I put these bullets into the case, it don't cut my lead or strip my powder coating off as I'm seating it into the bullet. So seating the bullet into the case. So what I'll do right now, the part that you didn't see, is me putting a primer in here. And what I'm using is I'm just using the Lee turret press, and like I said, I'm not doing a huge batch, so I'm just doing small batches. So I'm just going to grab each little primer, which is CCI small rifle primers, and I'm going to set it into, I'll show you what I'm using, into one of those on the Lee press. And I actually like using those to prime with, so it's nothing for me to want to use that anyway. So then I'm going to, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to prime the case, and then I'm going to run it up into a Lee Universal Expander die. Alright, and what this die does is it expands the case, the neck, it expands, it flares the neck. I don't know where I'm holding this thing. I'm flaring the neck so that the bullet goes in there. So I just run that primer up in there, and now I'm going to leave it in there and just run it right up into the flare, and then that is where you saw me putting powder in just now, okay? So all of those were primed and flared, and then we put the powder in. So for right now, just to save time to get my point across, I'm just going to lay these aside for right now since I don't have powder in them. That one, just to make sure I've done what I was supposed to, flare that. Did I flare that one? When I'm on video, I gotta make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So here we go again. I'm just reaching into the bowl there, and I'm gonna put a primer in the primer seeder and prime it and flare it, and I'm just gonna set that aside, okay? And because I'm just showing you at this point where I am up to the point I put the powder in. So of course you can't put powder in until you have a primer in. So I'm going to prime that, flare that, and put a primer in and prime it, flare it. Now I run it in there twice. I know you guys always like to say, why are you doing it twice? And it's just, I got my own reasons, I guess. Maybe OCD is probably the biggest one. Like that. And so all I'm doing is I'm priming at this stage here. Prime it. Flare the neck. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, where that neck is flared out just slightly. And what that does for me is it allows me to put that bullet in, and it leaves just enough flare around that neck to go in without tearing up the bottom of the cast bullet. Alright, very important when you're loading cast that we flare these necks so that we don't strip the lead as we're shoving it into that sharp case. Okay? That's the idea here. Now let me just make sure I did that because I showed you that one. Alright, so enough of that. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to use, I've just happened to have this RCBS bullet seating die in here. Sometimes I will use the Lee bullet seating die, not a big deal. And then I have my 300 Blk Out factory crimp die. Okay, so now what I'm going to be doing is all of these cases. Alright, so that's the I can't remember if I showed you that or showed you that already. That is the bullet that I'm using. It's kind of my go-to for subsonics, and I am using 10.8 grains of IMR 4227, and I am that one's got a little teat on the tip of the bullet. This is the overall length, 2.236. 2.235 is my target, and it is all looking good. I have my dies set up. I've already loaded all of these, and I'm loading these so that you guys can see. So I'm just going to, for now, set my primers aside, and I'm going to bring my cases in with the powder in them, and I'm going to set these on. I'm going to grab my bullets, set them on as straight as possible because these are so long, and I'm going to run them up, and then I just turn that, and to finish this round off with everything I've already done, all I need to do is seat the bullet and crimp, because you can still see the flare that I have on the case. So I'm going to straighten that out right now. And I usually put a pretty generous crimp on mine just because they're very violent in an AR platform. Okay, so that's just kind of how I roll, and I'll let you see what it looks like. That actually felt like what it would normally feel like. I'll let you see the crimp that I put on them. I just like to make sure they don't get jammed around, okay? And that's that. Let's see. And I didn't bring my something to put my bullets in. I just use, you know, some of that stuff right there. Just an old, I can't remember what caliber was in those things, but I tend to really like these as reloading trays. So that one is complete. Now, I'm gonna set my bullet on there as straight as possible because they are very long. And seat the bullet. I usually crimp it twice like that just because that's how I roll. No big deal. Won't get mad at nobody if they don't. Set that bullet on nice and straight. Seat that bullet to 2.235. Roll it around to the factory crimp die. And again, there we go. We flatten that that crimp right back out again. These are excellent bullets for you know, they're a very heavy bullet. Okay, this isn't a long range bullet in my opinion. These are more for self-defense. If any of you guys have ever seen any of my videos shooting these into ballistic gelatin, you will know that they are a very violent bullet when they go into ballistic gel, for instance. I have never seen one enter in without flipping around, and that's a very heavy bullet and very long, and flipping around like that will do a tremendous amount of damage. That's just my opinion. So that's one of the reasons that I like them a lot, and they're also very fun to shoot. They're fun to shoot at steel. They make a loud bang. They're see, now what I done right there is I just put that bullet in there crooked when I run that up, and I seen where I shaved some powder coat off right there. So you know what I'm going to do with that one right there? It may very well be even that I didn't flare that. It looks like I didn't actually. I missed that on the flare. So what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to pull that bullet. I'm not going to leave that like that. So I'm just going to set it aside. These are the kind of things that happen, but you got to pay attention. It's easy. Just catch it whenever you do it. I could feel it whenever I was seating that bullet in there. Now that one is flared. So here we go. I'm going to set that up there. That was nice and smooth, just the way it's supposed to be. There we go. We're living in some crazy times these days. You know, it seems like the ship is going down while the violins play. And all I can say to you guys is we're all complicit. We all comply with all of the things that that people tell us to do. All I can say about that is encourage people. If someone is telling you what to do and you're a free man living in a free country, you are not obligated to listen to all that. We are all kind of being, you know, set up and you know, see how far they can push us. Now, every time I do a video, I always find myself screwing up. Like for instance, I did the same thing on that. I didn't have a crooked bullet. I know what I did is I never flared that case. As a matter of fact, you guys probably seen exactly what just happened. I reached in there. I didn't flare it because now you seen what I just did is I just reached in there in my bowl of brass that I didn't prime yet. Okay, so I'm gonna move that out of my way because that's what I did that time. So here I'm gonna grab this case. That's why whenever you're reloading and you're talking, you should probably be talking about reloading and not talking about other things. But there you go. See, that's the kind of thing that happens. It's nice to see, you know, it's nice to know that that you're not the only one and I'm not the only one that messes things up as we're loading for whatever reason. But every time we do, there's a reason for it. So basically, this is you know, my favorite subsonic load, favorite subsonic bullet so far, and all of the prep videos that I've done recently have led to this, where now I have all this prep brass and I can just go through and load some ammo just like that. And you know, and one of the things that I wanted to get across here is, you know, when loading these is, of course, you have to be able to expand the case mouth whenever you're loading, you know, these missiles, when you're loading cast bullets. Okay, so anyway, guys, you know, that finishes, you know, what I've started with the with prepping the brass all the way down to a completed round, and you know, that's what they look like at 10.8 grains of 4227. These travel just under, you know, your supersonic speeds, and so it just makes the subsonic out of my rifle, which is a 14.5-inch barrel with a pistol gas system. Okay, so out of my rifle, they're, you know, just under the supersonic speeds, you know, for a subsonic round that you guys might want to use with a suppressor or that kind of thing. So anyway, guys, I hope this was helpful, and remember, guys, don't comply to everything that you hear when someone, you know, if we're walking around and, you know, we you know, if we don't wear our mask, for instance, you know, we can't go in someplace. Just, I don't want to tell you what to do, but all I'm saying is, you know, it started with, you know, let's you know, get through this couple of weeks, and now it's almost a year later, and you know, so all the your power mongers are just, you know, gaining more power, and you know, they're tickled to death that we just all comply with everything that they say. I don't want to tell you guys what to do. All I can tell you is, you know, it's our fault if we lose our freedoms. But I, for one, will not lose my freedom because I don't do what anybody tells me to do. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.